Okay, this video explains how to get somebody out of a nursing home that wishes to leave and go on to home-based care with their attendant and hours set up and um, gets them out of a nursing home. I'm going to lay out the process step by step for someone to understand. So, first part of the process is you go in and you introduce yourself as his advocate or transition specialist. Um, you go in and take a sheet that's called a um, transition plan. Now, everyone's different. Everyone's plan will be um, set up differently um, as to the person's need. Um, like I said before in the previous video, you have to get to know them on a pretty personal basis, because you see them every day, once every week. Um, let's say you're at your personal home. You get a phone call from your client with a situation that you have to go check out. Now you have to go to the facility, check it out, check out what the situation is, and then you have to come up with a plan to fix that situation. Um, depends on the facility also. Um, some transitions are smoother if they're set up right. Some are more complicated. Some have more details to put together. Now, when you transition somebody out, you have to make sure that your ducks are in a row. Because first thing is you don't want it to fall apart. Second thing is you want the person to be able to function. And when you get somebody out, you don't necessarily drop them off at their place of living, or where they choose to go live and live out their life. You spend approximately a month with the person aftercare. It's called aftercare transition, which means you step in to make sure things are running smoothly. If they're not, you and the consumer have to fix them at that moment. You have to fix things as you see it. Now, sometimes you may be pulled aside for a um, for a suggestion be made, or for a fill-in for a situation that you need to fix with the consumer. Case in point, I had one of my people that I used to handle. Now, mind you, he came out of a nursing home, and he wasn't used to running his own staff. So therefore, I had to teach him how to do that. It's not an easy thing to do. You have to set it up as sort of like an outline for your client. Um, Now, you can only after you see them for like a year. When it gets closer to transition time, you transition them out. You um, you let them get settled in with their furniture. Basically, figure out a routine how they what they when they want to get up in the morning. Um, Basically, you let your client figure that out with their staff. But as a transition person, you go after you set them up with attendant care and everything in their house. You go do visits for a month straight. They only get your services for 1 month after they transition out of the facility. Now, you may fix things for them once in a while. You may take like messages from them to help them fix things on the phone. But after a month, the person is as if they're set up right, like I said, it functions well. But for some people it does have holes, and when before you transition somebody, you have to make sure those holes are filled. So there's no holes, no gaps, no nothing, no gaps in service. You have to make sure that services are in place the day that your person moves out of the home. Now you don't have to stay there you don't have to stay there. You may transition a person out, help them carry in one box, and then say see you later. Do the ending paperwork. Um, when you do the ending paperwork, basically you shake their hand and then say, "I'll see you for a month." You know, you explain to them that they have support by you for a month if you are a transition person. If you are a transition specialist for a certain company, like I said, you have to figure out what the company requires for you to transition somebody out. Um, like I said, there are there are some people that you have to have a detailed have a detailed exit plan in place for. Like you can still get people out with dementia, but again, you have to make sure your supports are in place. You have to make sure that the person that's coming in for your client basically has a pretty good handle on the person that they see every day. Um, you have to make sure that they get along, of course. Um, and so, case in point, sometimes you get phone calls from the attendant. If you're gonna if you get a phone call from the attendant saying, uh, Mr. Joe Blow has in won't get out of the bed for the day, and if you help a person out, and part of their service plan is to use a wheelchair to be out and mobile, and this person decides to not get out of bed for the day, and If you're the transition person taking the time to set that up for them to have equipment to use and they're not using it, then you can do a home visit. You do a home visit to make sure that the equipment works, that they're using it correctly. That thing, like I said, when you set it up, things have to run pretty smoothly. And if you have to go in and show a person how to use a piece of equipment or explain to them, this is why we got you, this is why we got you this certain a piece of equipment. Because, they may see it, they may have their attendant use it every day, but them as a person, they have to know how to go about using it also. Because, like I said, you're not always going to be there for the person. If you're a transition specialist, you have 1 month exactly to help a person out. And when you do have that all written down and you have an exit plan that's foolproof, it goes off without a hitch. Now there are certain instances where maybe a person's on medication that you're taking out of a facility. Like I said, their place of residence where they're going to be for the rest of their life has to be set up right. Meaning they have to have the same, like their medications done on like they have to have their medications like transferred to the pharmacy from the nursing home. Yeah, you have to make sure this stuff is like written down piece by piece, so that when you go to take somebody out, you're not missing somebody, you're not missing something from the home, you're not forgetting to pack something for them. Some facilities have your person packed up already, which is really nice, but sometimes you have to help them finish packing. Um, it depends on what time of day you do it too. Eh, sometimes you do it real early in the morning. Sometimes people schedule to leave facilities in the afternoon. Sometimes it's an evening transition. It just depends on and when you can schedule somebody to um like be there for the um to, to sign them out. Person that signs them out is usually the head nurse of the floor. But again, like I said, you have like a month with the person, so you have to show them how to function in life. And some people come out of nursing homes with nothing, which if they do, you find a company that has the offer of a nursing home transition care unit, which is they're a group of special people that are employed by the uh, the agency that your client is going with. Meaning, like um, when you have a transition specialist, along with visitation, you have to make sure that the person has everything uh, neatly packaged up for their life. If you're missing something, if out of the details of that transition plan, if something's missing out of that, you may you have to do double checks. You have to make sure that you go down item by item. Have an exit checklist with you. Now that means have have a have a notebook and a pen, and sit down with your client and have this gone over with before your transition day happens. It makes it a lot easier to do it that way. Um, like I said, it's like a 4 part process. Um, First part of the process is you go in and introduce yourself. You have to build trust with your client. Um, you have to get to know them on a regular basis. You have to get to know their care routine. And it helps if you get to know their nurses that they see every day, their aides that they see every day, people that um, people that service them every day. Um, but when you're a transition specialist, you have to schedule time with your client to go in and have like a one-on-one um, meeting session. Whereas if they get to trust you, you go in, like I said, every week, make sure their care is being met. If they can't talk for themselves, you're their you're their voice. If your person voices something that's physically wrong with them, and if the same person has an issue talking to nursing about this issue, it's your responsibility as a transition person to go and seek out head of nursing. It's your responsibility to introduce yourself to head of nursing and tell them that you service uh, Joe. Explain to them that Joe is your client, and you have to identify which agency you're with, and you have to have an ID tag when you go in facilities that tells them that you are with a company that services consumers, and you have to have a boatload of documentation done so that when the person is in the process of transitioning, leaving the nursing home, each one of you has a piece of paper that says what the care plan is. Um, you have to make sure that's in place, because if you don't, you want to cover all bases. When you go in a facility to see somebody about transitioning out to a home, you want to make sure everything is covered, detailed down to the T. Because if you miss something that is specified on their care plan, let's say let's say, for example, you transition them home, and um, they're used to having 24-hour care, and they find out that maybe they only get like 2 or 3 shifts. Now, when you're doing that for somebody, you have to sort of do like an assessment for them to go out of the nursing home to their house. Now, that assessment also carries their amount of hours. If that assessment is not done, You throw, let's say you say, see you later, but they call you a week later and say, this isn't working. Then it's your responsibility to go in and fix it. It's your responsibility to go make sure that end of it is patched up. Now, there's a lot that the person has to consider when they're transitioning out. If the person is with if a person has dementia and you and they the family still wants them to be out of the facility, you can still get them out. Okay, but it's a different process. With dementia care, you still have to, with a person with dementia care, you still have to make sure that they have um, the right things in place to function. Now, enough staff, enough hours, enough supports. It's all about when you transition somebody, it's all about support, having the supports in place. Now, before you transition somebody, you also have to sit down with your client and explain to them exactly in detail what goes on when somebody transitions out. So they're not expecting to um, be on their own. You never want to see somebody on their own. Um, so in my video also, in today's video also, I have an outline that I'm going to go over. The outline states the whole process of, the whole, how it works in the whole process. Now, give me a minute or two. I will make sure that I have everything that I want. It is one thing to help somebody move into a nursing home or other senior living community, but it's entirely different when you move them home. Um, like I said, you're meeting with the person to make sure that they have everything in place. You're going over their checklists, make sure they have everything that they come in with, or if you have to, you go and buy what they need to live: pots, pans, bedding, um, dishes, everything that a person needs for their house. Now, some states offer budgets for that, a certain amount of budget for transitioning out, um, which is nice for the clients who don't have anything. Um, when a person wants to transition out of a nursing home, uh, they don't necessarily have to stay in there. They can check themselves out. But again, they call an agency hopefully with a nursing home transition option. Now you have to call, sometimes you have to call around and see who offers that for services. Because some people don't, some agencies don't offer that. They'll do the attendant care once you get them out to the nurse. Once you get them out of their nursing home into their own apartment, there's certain agencies that'll just do the care. But your best bet is to find ones who have the extra services, like moving a person out. That's called NHT, nursing home transition is what NHT stands for. And some, like I said, some people they transition out with nothing. So then you have to start from scratch with all of the necessary details for you to like function with at your own apartment after they move out. Moving on to topic number 2. Everybody has the right to transition out if they're able to. Now, keyword in that sentence is able to. Obviously, if they're a danger to themselves, they're not a candidate. So that's one thing you have to weigh also is the person a perfect candidate? Are they going to be able to function out in society for the rest of their life? Because yes, you have attendant care, but you only have attendant care for like let's say 6 hours a day. After that 6 hours, if you don't extend their hours, meaning have enough hours for an evening person, when the day person's done, they have to make sure that their client is fully set for the day. I mean, and can reach things, have things like meals where they can reach them, down on shelves. You have to make sure that if you have good staff, they will sit and ask you before they leave, do you need anything else? And you as a consumer, that is when you say to them, before you leave, may I have blank? And you fill in the blank with anything that that you really need before they leave. Like if a person needs to use the facilities, make sure your staff knows that you need to go use the facilities. Make sure that things are pretty much set up. And the person that you have getting out, they may be in the facility for rehab, which is a temporary stay, meaning they may be there for 30 days or less. Then you have the client that's been there for years who wants an opportunity to transition out. Um, you have to make sure the person that you're trying to get out doesn't have a medical reason not to be able to. Um, Now, if they're towards the end of life and their wish is to be in their own apartment with attendant care, so they can pass in peace. If it's a dying wish, um, if you're a good transition person, try to meet their last requests. Let's see. Oh, and you can't get a person out if they're a danger to themselves. Um, if you're a good transition person, um, you like I said, you make sure that they're not a danger to themselves. But sometimes you can't tell. Sometimes you go into facilities, you meet the person, you get to know them, but after you leave, you don't know exactly what they do. Um, or a case in point, um, sometimes you get the person out of the nursing home. They start with their attendant care. They send their attendant to the store or something. When their attendant comes back, something major happens. Again, you as a transition person, you can't blame you. You don't blame yourself for that because after they get out of the facility, like I said, you're with them for a month, and like I said, if it's not done right, or if the consumer has forgotten something, if they have forgotten to tell you something that is very vital to them functioning, and you don't find it out till later, it's on them. It's not on you. Um, but like I said, if you do it right, it works in the end for a person. Um, let's see. What else am I going to say? Oh, topic 3 for nursing home transition. Getting a person out with Alzheimer's. They can still get out, but like I said, they need tons of supervision. Um, they need like 2 to 3 people on staff. If you're a good transition specialist like I was, um, on the care plan that you set up to get them out of a nursing home with, that has it in it for the number of shifts for that kind of person. Because the person that has dementia might be a little confused, but again, they have that option to get out also. Um, what I'm saying is you can't exclude everybody. You can't exclude anybody that is safe enough to get out. And then, fourth thing for nursing home transition. During the process of getting somebody out, if they let you get to know their families, Get to know their guardians. Get to know the person that they trust in their circle, because that also helps. That helps you get to know the person more. Um, let's see. These are just my notes. Now here you go. Situation 5 for nursing home transition. Person might have a power of attorney. Before you start that process with the person that you're seeing every day, get to know their person with the power of attorney. Hopefully um, they won't be closed-minded to the option for the person to move out with the right supports. For people that have legal guardians, um, people that have POAs, all they're concerned about is if their loved one or significant person has enough support to function in life. As long as you're a transition specialist and you treat your client with respect, and sit down and do their transition plan that transitions them out down to the T. This works for people. This has a profound effect on a person. But again, they have to have people in their houses that they can trust. They have to have detailed descriptions of different programs that's out in the community for them to tie into. Like I said, if you're a decent transition specialist, you will tie the person into enough supports, enough programs, enough agencies that they'll have enough as a security blanket or a security net. That doesn't mean that people end up doing stuff for them, but it gives them a place to go. It gives them a place to call if they have an issue. Like when you get somebody out and you're setting up enough people for them to come in, bedridden people that are in bed a lot, they need enough people coming in to turn them during the day, turn them during the night, make sure things are set for them. Sometimes people who transition out, like I said, they have a good support system, and then the month that you're with them for a transition person, this is a time where you have to sit and with the person, with your client, you have to sit and see what kind of equipment they need. See if you have to revise it, see if you have to order them extra equipment, extra supplies. The more you support them, the better the function is. Now, the less you support somebody, there's an option for that to fall apart. What I'm saying is, if you set it up right, it doesn't fall apart. Fifth or sixth topic here. Second, hold on. I will get to it. Okay. Now, oh, and when you have people coming into your house after your transition, you have to specify clearly what needs revised, what needs redone, because your transition specialist doesn't know unless you tell them. Now, if they're a good person that you have for transition, um, they'll give you the option to leave them a message. Now, the the transition specialist, like I said, only has a month with you as a client. It's like adding. It's like being in the nest. You're in the nest a whole year, and then when we transition you out, you still have that safety net for one more month. If you use a safety net the right way, like I said, you have within a month to use it, because states are different, but state law says that you have a person, a transition person, to help you out of a nursing home, help you set up your life, and help set up attendant care for you, get you a transition budget for uh, for a couch, for a chair, for bedding, for dishes, um, you know, the essentials. But after that month that you have us, if your staff has set up the 3 shifts, you you are pretty much on your own after a month. So what I'm saying to you is, when you're a client transitioning at a facility, make sure you use that month that you have us wisely. You have to have a real reason to see us. I mean, people like myself, we're out here to help you, but you have to have a reason to see us. Don't make it a silly reason. Make it a legitimate reason. Um, and if you have a meeting with somebody that's in a nursing home that you're getting out, if the situation can wait till the next day, if they call you at night, you take you take the message, write it down in a notebook, detail it so that you can discuss it later with your client, like the next day. And also, there's a there's a sixth situation uh, for nursing home transition. Um, this is called a roundtable meeting. This is where the facility gets to say what they need to say. If they have issues concerning you, concerning a consumer, you have to sit with the consumer, sit with the nursing home, go over each detail, each point that they're making. You have to take the time to listen to, because then you have to sit down and fix it. You have to figure out ways of fixing it. It's not it doesn't lay itself out to a person directly. You have to do some digging. And when you go meet a client in a facility, you have to get to know what they like, what they don't like, how they wanna run their visit with you. Now, as far as being somebody's advocate for nursing home transition, let's say a person's diabetic. Let's say nursing home refuses them care. It's your responsibility as a nursing home transition specialist to go in and be an advocate for them. Because if you go into your client's room and they're agitated, you have to take the time to figure out what they're agitated for. And then you have to sit and discuss how they want to handle that situation. Now, they may want to go with you to see the administration for that. Let them. They may send you with a detailed piece of paper. If you are sent with if you're sent with a piece of paper to see nursing for them, remember, you're their advocate. You're not supposed to make decisions for them. They're supposed to be able to. They're supposed to have the opportunity to make that decision for you. All you're supposed to do is relay. And if you're a good transition specialist, you relay it to the T. Now, what I mean by that is you sit down with them before you go see administration for them. You have a little notebook with you, jot it down, and then take that notebook out with you when you're standing in front of the administration. be it head of nursing, be it head of the nursing home, because you're their voice. You have to say what they need done for them. If they choose not to go fix it and send you to fix it, you have to fix it. Or you have to bring them back an answer. Sometimes that's a tough issue to do. It's a real tough issue if you go in front of administration and they say to you, um, your client is a tough one. We don't want to deal with it. You have to be a good enough transition specialist to smooth it over, first of all, and to find a solution that you can take back to your client, present to your client, and then hopefully get them a yes or no, and then go to nursing and say, Joe's wanting to do, he's wanting to, resolve this way. Then you're supposed to ask the nursing home or nursing, the head of nursing, will you agree to this solution? Now, after you ask them if they have if they'll agree to a solution, then if they have something else to offer, if they have another solution to handle the situation, you have to take care and write down what their solution is. Go back to your client and present it to your client, and get a yes or no answer. What I'm saying is each process of getting somebody out, involve your client as much as you can. So it enhances their life. They feel empowered that way. Some of your clients may be scared to go to manage to head in nursing. But again, you have it detailed so that you can go to nursing and present it on your client's behalf. Because again, the whole point is to involve your client in the whole process. Like I said, the more you involve your client to a certain degree, the better they feel. They feel like society doesn't shut them out that way. And me as a transition specialist that I used to do, I involved most of my clients to a 50 to a 90% percentage of the whole process. Now, there are some people that you can't get out due to physical limitations. Um, they may be they may be um, have things going on that prevents them, and if that happens, that person has something that's that is detrimental for that person. Um, you make their life as rich as possible. Make them feel like you care because you're the outside person that they see every day. You have to get them to trust you because it's not about just going in and saying hi. It's not about just going in and saying hi. Um, my name is so and so. I'm here to help you transition out. You have to be committed to the person um, to see that their life, to see that their transition works. That's all reason for getting somebody out, so they can experience life the way somebody, the way a normal person does. Now, there's another side to that. After you get your attendant out, after you get your client out, and if you set them up with attendant care, their services are set up right. But let's say for example that their attendant is scared to service them. If they're scared to service them, then you as a transition specialist, you have to use that month that they're allotted to go do visits, to pop in to the apartment. That's where you use the month that you're allotted to fix little details. Like I said, it matters to the consumer how transition goes, how their house is set up, and if you do it right, their life works until it works for them on a pretty consistent basis. Now, the other side of the coin that you have for transition, situation B, is that let's say a person gets out of a nursing home, goes home with attendant care. That's fine. But again, they send their attendant to the store or something, and let's say they forget to tell you. Let's say, for example, they forget to tell you, I have heart condition. but they don't tell you how bad the heart condition is. So, situation B is you go to the store for this client, you come back, and they're on the floor. Yeah, you call the squad and everything for them. But I've also seen it where uh, people blame themselves for it falling apart. Again, like I said, you can't blame yourself after after setting it up, after giving them a whole month of yourself, after the whole process. If it falls apart because of a physical condition they forgot to tell you or didn't choose to tell you. Some people, they get out of the facility, get into the apartment, enjoy it for a while, and then they choose to get out just because they don't want to pass in a facility. That happens also. So I hope this video has helped somebody understand how transitioning somebody out of a nursing home is really rewarding if it's done right. Because you have their life in your hands. From day one, you have their life in your hands. So like I said, you have to get them to trust you. Now, when you go in at the first meeting, and let's say you got to get past the anger of being in a facility. Because let me tell you from experience, not for myself, but for clients that I've seen, they're very angry about being there. Then when they see you, it's like a ray of hope. You're their lifeline until they get out. You are their piece of outside world before they get out. So give them a good picture of how life is supposed to be for a disabled person. Hope I have given somebody um, enough tools. Hope I don't. This process is not scary. Um, it's actually awesome. Like I said in the last video, seeing somebody seeing somebody have a smile on their face as they're opening their apartment door for the first time is priceless. Seeing them enjoy their apartment is priceless. When they're used to having nursing care. But that's another issue where you have to get their mind adjusted to being out on the outside into their own place. That's a tough issue to handle, but like I said, if you do it right, if you get to know them as well as you do, that should be a quick and easy process. Like I said, it's different for everybody. Each client has a different wish. Each client has a different way they want things set up. When you first take somebody out towards transition time, it's like when you and a client go shopping. You as a transition specialist, when you and a client go shopping, it's their time to pick things for their house, and that brings a smile to their face because now they get to choose. Instead of the nursing home choosing for them, they get to choose what ends up in their house. It's like designing a room for a regular person. But this person happens to be in a wheelchair or bedridden. So their whole goal towards the end of leaving a nursing home, their whole goal is to enjoy shopping for their own pieces, for their own curtains, for their own dishes, for their own blankets, for their own TVs. That makes a difference also. Brings a real smile to their face. I hope this video has helped somebody that's interested in being advocate for somebody or a nursing home transition specialist, which they're usually attached to service companies for personal care or self-directed care, or the agency might have something to that effect of a transition team. But like I said, their connection to outside world. So your mission in life is to go in and give them a piece of outside world because they're stuck in a nursing home until you get them out with the right, proper way of doing things. Now, if somebody's interested in my notes from this session of the video, I will gladly paste it in the comments for people to have. Like I said, if this makes a difference for somebody, like and press the like button for me. If anybody has any questions about this process, leave me a comment. I'll gladly answer. So thanks a lot for listening. Hopefully this gives a person a huge insight to attendant care and setting services up for a person. It makes a person's life a lot easier to handle, knowing that they don't have to rely on a facility anymore.